Hey guys, welcome to Guitar Dojo. Today's video, I'm going to show you everything you need to learn and master your chords on the guitar. I'll make the tabs and sheets available so that you can download them and follow along. These are the tab sheets I made for everybody. On every one of my tab sheets, I have the notes on the guitar. One thing you want to keep in mind, this is the top of your guitar, and this is the bottom. The reason that tablature is written like this is because when you read music notation, the low notes are on the bottom and the high notes are on the top. But on the guitar, it's just the opposite. The low notes are on the top and the high notes are on the bottom. So in order to match music, tablature is written in the same way. Tablature is just a map for your guitar. It tells you what string you're going to play and what finger you're going to use, if any. In the open position, you don't use any fingers, so it is represented by a 0. On the guitar, you can play 6 strings at the same time, or you can play individual notes. You can play 2 notes, 3 notes at a time, 4, up to 6. When you see all your strings played open on tablature, that looks like this. See the way all those notes are stacked? That means they're all played at the same time. If they were played individually, it would look like this. And when you hear it, it would sound like. So we have all our strings at once. Same thing when you play chords. They're going to be stacked. And then you have individual notes, which is this one right there. So now you understand kind of how tablature works. We'll get into it a little bit more. First thing we're going to do is memorize our open strings. Yes, E, A, D, G, B, E, A, D, G, B, E. There's a couple of different ways that you can do it. E, B, G, D, A, E. The way I learned it was Easter bunnies get dizzy at Easter. You can do Eddie ate dynamite, goodbye Eddie. So same thing. You're just thinking of how many different ways can I learn how to memorize my notes. We have our open strings. With anything on the guitar, you can play up to 6 notes at the same time. You can play them individually. Memorize your note names. Just memorize them. E, A, D, G, B, E, E, B, G, D, A, E. Backwards and forwards. Know them by heart. So we're going to go ahead and number these. So this is your first step, knowing how to read tablature a little bit for the basics part of open notes. The second, memorize your open strings. Step 3 is let's memorize the notes on our 6th string. Show you the easy way to do it. Play your 6th string open. The first note on the string, it happens to be on the 1st fret. This is what you have to memorize. Then it's dot, dot, dot. Or you could think of it like odd numbers. Start with open, and then you go 1, 3, 5, 7. Open, 1st fret, 3rd fret, 5th fret, 7th fret. Open, 1st, dot, dot, dot. The next notes are 8, 10, and then the double dot. 8, 10, double dot. So we have open, 1st, dot, 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 8, 10, double dot is 12. Now you only have to know the notes on the first half of the guitar because this is where the guitar starts over. Everything here is the same as it is up here. This dot is the high G. So you have G, high G, A, high A. So if you know these notes, you got those down. So again, we got open, 1st, 3rd, 5th, 7th, 8, 10, 12. Open, 1st, dot, dot, dot. Space, space, double dot. Now let's see what that looks like. We have open, 1st, 3rd, 5th, 7th, 8th, 10th, and 12. That way you can use your dots to visualize what's going on your fretboard. Open, 1st, dot, 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 8, 10, 12. That's just the visual part. These have note names. So we start on E. It's just going to go in alphabetical order from E. The musical alphabet is from A to G, then it starts over A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D. It just keeps on going. That's it. Hopefully that's pretty easy too. Or maybe I should write that down. I don't know. But I feel like you guys are pretty smart, so you'll be able to get this. So looking at this, open, 1st, 3rd, 5th, 7th, 8th, 10th, 12. Like I was saying, these have note names. This is what you're going to memorize. E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E. You're going to have this sheet to look at. Memorize this. Open strings, notes on your sixth string. If you think that was pretty easy, the only difference between the sixth string and the fifth string is that you got to start on the second fret. And it's the same thing. Open, second fret. Dot, 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 8, 10, 12. Open, second, dot, 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 8, 10, 12. Now that you know your strings open, you know that your fifth string is your A string, so it starts on A and just goes in alphabetical order from there. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A. Every time you get to the 12th fret, it starts over again, right? This way you get used to the way I write tabs and how my sheets look. All right, here we go. So that's the first part. Why is this important? What we just learned was the notes on the sixth and the fifth string. If you look at this, anywhere that you see an E, the very next fret is an F. Anytime you see a B, the very next fret is a C, no matter where you go on the guitar. I'll show you the fretboard here in a second. But congratulations, now that you have these two strings memorized, you also have half of your guitar memorized, because your first string is the same as your sixth string. E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E. You have half of your guitar memorized. Oh, now you just have 3 strings to go. You're welcome. This is the part that we're going to use though today. So I'm going to show you the rest of this fretboard so that way you can see that anytime you have an E and F and a B and C, they're right next to each other. Voila. When I have my students memorize their fretboard, I only have them memorize their natural notes, because if you know where your natural notes are, then you automatically know where all your sharps and flats are. If you look here, for example, if I am moving forward or going higher, I use sharps. If I'm going backwards, I use flats. So going forward, I would have F sharp, G sharp, and A sharp falling in between my natural notes. So I have E, F, F sharp, G, G sharp, A. So if I'm moving in reverse, I'm going backwards, then I use flats. So A, you move back to the 4th fret and it would be A flat. The G, then you move to G flat. So everywhere there's a space between the natural notes is a sharp or a flat. The reason I had you learn your 5th and your 6th string is because we're going to learn the power chord. The power chord is the top part of a bar chord. The bar chords are hard to hold at first. So until you get used to that, you can easily get used to the shape and how to move that around before you have to end up doing the bar to make it major or minor. The thing with the power chord is it doesn't give you major or minor. It just gives you note. When you hear it, it's just G. It doesn't give you G major or G minor. Major, minor. Doesn't give you that. It just gives you G, F, A. So that's the difference between the power chord and your standard major minor chords. Now the thing is when you're learning songs, they can use whatever chords work for them, whatever key that they're in. And that's the hard part, because a lot of times when you're learning songs, you come across sharps and flats. And until you get your bar chord and some other extended chords, you can use this in place of those. You can play F sharp, B, C, play any chord using that as a substitute. Now let's zoom into this chord chart and I'm going to show you how to put your fingers on a power chord. So looking at this chord chart, whenever you have a chord chart, they're going to fill in the name in front of it. So we're going to make this one a G. It's going to be a G power chord. So I'm just going to put power underneath here. When you're looking at this, it is like the guitar standing up facing you. So you have the top of the guitar and the bottom. This is your low E and this is your high E. Let me write that. Low, high. Any dots that you see on this are going to tell you where to put your fingers. Not exactly showing you what fingers to use, but that is what these little numbers at the top are for. This is going to tell you that you're going to use your first finger on your fret hand, your third finger on your fretting hand, and your fourth finger. because you might be left-handed, you might be right-handed. I'm left-handed, so my fretting hand is my left hand. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now these bottom strings, I'm not going to play those, so those are symbolized by an X. Most of the time, if I remember right, I do this, so that way you know what strings you're not supposed to play. So this is what a power chord looks like on a chord chart. Let's move down the line and look what a power chord looks like in tablature. So this is going to be our fourth part. Whenever you see the notes stacked like this is telling you they're played at the same time. You're just strumming them at the same time. And it's implied that only the notes that you see in tablature are what you're playing. If they wanted you to play those and have those, they would have something on it for you. Now, the bad thing is normally tablature doesn't give you the fingers. I do. I'm nice. I like that. So I tell you what fingers to use. At first, it's a little weird, seeing it on tablature, but anytime you see a note with that kind of spacing, 2 frets, 5, 7, 6, 8, 4, 6, you end up seeing power chords within this, and you just kind of know that all you have to do is see what that note is, and then you can just move fifth. And then you just have this shape, and it automatically lands on 5, 7, 7. But like I said, I do give fingerings. Use your first finger, third finger, and your fourth finger. So we're going to start off, strum that 4 times. So now I have that written out for you. This is just your power chord moved back over your frets. Like I said, if you pay attention and you kind of look at this, you'll see that they're just 2 notes away. 5, 7, 3, 5, 2, 4, 1, 3. So let's try this out in order to get used to moving this power chord around. We have our A power chord, our G, and we're going backwards, so we'll call this G flat, F, and E. Now I'm going to come down here and I'm going to add a repeat sign. So this is called a repeat sign. That means that you just go back to the beginning and start it over again. The repeat sign actually means to go back to the previous repeat and play what's within there, given however many times. Normally when I do that, I'll write for my students how many times I want them to do it. Usually it is around 100 times, and they do it every single time. They do everything that I give them 100 times. Now you're only trying to hit the top 3 strings. Get your fingers in place, first, third, and fourth on your 5th, 7, 7, and you're just gonna strum that 4 times. That's your A. Then we're gonna move it back to your G. Then we're gonna move it back 1 fret, G flat. Then we're gonna move it to our F. And then we're gonna move it to our E. Now this is your E minor chord. If you already know your E minor chord, you know that you can play it like this. You can play it with 1 finger. You can play it with these 2 fingers. You can play it with these 2 fingers. You can play it with these 2. This is just to make it easier so that you can get used to transferring just on 1 string. The hardest part about this is keeping this distance right here. When I first started, it was like, it's gonna take a little while to get used to, but use this song to do it. The first song I recommend for you to learn is Brain Stew by Green Day. It takes these chords, it's played the way Green Day plays it, but use this as a practice. If you want to get faster at that, strum it once. Challenge yourself in different ways when it comes to playing your bar chords. The power chord works on your 6th and 5th string. So look at this next little exercise. Let me fill this in for you as well. We're going to repeat this bare minimum, I'd say 100 timos. The more you do it, the better you get faster. What? Get that? Words of wisdom. All right. So we have our F sharp, our B, C sharp, G sharp. So this one, just to get used to. up and down from your 6th and your 5th string. Use that as a practice, play it faster and faster, get to where you can move that around. So you can use this exercise to work on that and learn a new song using your power chord. So this will give you 2 songs to learn. Your first song, Brain Stew by Green Day. This next song that I want you to look up and learn is Godzilla by the Blue Oyster Cult. The B.O.C. Blue Oyster Cult. Go on YouTube, find out easy versions to play it, listen to the song, enjoy the songs, then start learning how to play the songs. There are so many videos on there. How to play Brain Stew by Green Day. Look it up. How to play Godzilla. Look that up. Get used to finding songs that you want to learn how to play and the homework that I give you. Now we're back at the top. I'm going to show you these chords because I want to show you how to practice chords. You're going to have to go and practice those over and over again, but let me give you some exercises to make that way easier. When you have your chords, we're going to start off with our C, our A minor, and E minor. So the chord name is always going to be in front, C, A minor, and E minor. As long as it's not a power chord, anytime you see just a note, that's telling you that it's a major chord. The minor is going to be labeled minor or have a little M on there for you. So with our C chord, we do not play this string. Let me scrub that one out for you. And on your A minor, we also do not play our 6th string or our low E string. For our C chord, that looks like I'm using my 3rd finger, my 2nd finger. I'm playing 3rd string open, using my 1st finger here and playing this string open. Not playing my 6th string at all. Remember with chords, I can play them all at once, stacked, all the notes on the same, or I can play them, right? I can play them individual notes. So let's get this over and do 0, 2nd finger, 3rd finger, 1st finger, open, open, 1st, 2nd, open, open, open. Yes. So this is a 6th string chord. You play all your strings. So you have your chord chart ready to go and you're looking at it and you're like, okay, how do I practice this to get better? Anytime that you're learning chords, every single time, like you're at the beginning, so do this always. Strum the chords 4 times and then move to the next chord. That way you're practicing strumming through it, holding that chord down, using your strength in your fingers to hold it down, and then moving to the next one. On tablature, I can either draw an arrow. These are strum arrows. I know it's a little bit backwards, but this is all down. So down, 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 down. You'll see it like this. When I usually write them out, you know, that's a lot of work. I mean, if I'm doing a strum pattern, I'll definitely write it out for you, but we're just gonna do this. So we have, most of the time I will do strum bars. So the same thing, just makes it a little easier to write. This means you're just gonna strum it 4 times. I also use this if there's a set strum pattern that's through the whole song. Instead of writing the strum pattern for every single chord, I'll just write the strum pattern out and then I'll do this. And then you know to apply that strum pattern to each one of the chords. I'll show you what that means here in a minute. So I wanna show you that first before we get into this last chord. These are exercises for you to learn your chords. If you look at this C in the A minor, you only have to move 1 finger. So I'm gonna put my fingers 3rd, 2nd, skip a string, 1st, open. In the exercise, we're gonna strum it 4 times. To get to the A minor, take your 3rd finger off, slide your middle finger back, add this one right underneath it. So practice that, C to A minor. Now Now the next chord is A minor to E minor. But look, we have two different ways that we can do this. We can do and then play it like it's written. Most of the time you see this chord is going to be written like that. This is the common way to play it. But you can also, from your A minor, just raise up these two fingers. Now, why is that important? Because this is the common way. Most of the time, you're going to see it written like this, but it depends on which way I'm moving. If I'm going to go from my A minor to my E minor to my G, then I'll use my first and second, which is why this brings us to this next chord that I'm going to add. So when you're doing this one, E minor, I want you to use your second and third, so that way we can go into our B dominant 7. For the B dominant 7, you just drop this finger down one string, add your first finger to your fourth string or your D string, and then you're looking right at the very bottom string on your second fret. Now this looks awkward, but it's really not a bad feeling chord. And it's almost the same shape as your G, just down and back a little bit. So you're gonna go C, A minor, E minor, B dominant 7. What? Let me write this chord out for you now. I had to fix everything. Now we're back. So we have our 4 chords: C, A minor, E minor, and B dominant 7. So you look at that up there. Anytime you see a letter and 7, that just means it's the dominant chord. That's just telling you that it's going to have this tension to it. The dominant chord is always the 5th chord in a key. Just FYI, right? Little knowledge there. Repeat that 100 million times. So practicing our chords, always start off with 4 strums. I'm just gonna start using my fingers. C, play that 1 to A minor, move up to E minor, drop down to B dominant 7. Practice those movements. As you get better at chords, you want to be able to change them faster. Start off strumming it 4 times, then strum it 2 times. When you can get that, make it an exercise where you strum it 1 time. On tablature, this is what a C chord will look like. It's stacked, 3, 2, 0, 1, 0. And like I said, normally I take this and I'll write the fingerings on there for you. 3rd finger, 2nd finger, 1st finger. This means the same thing as a strum. You're playing all of these at the same time. But anytime you see these squiggly lines, that just means that you're holding that note out. For as long as you can. Just as long as it takes in the music. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Holding the chords out like this, strumming it 4 times, helps build the muscles in your fingers to be able to hold down even more complicated chords later on. So let me write this out the way that would look like this. So you have C, A minor, E minor, B dominant 7. Boom. An arrow. That way you know that you're supposed to strum this chord. So like I said, this little blue line means that you're gonna hold this chord out. So that's 2 ways that you could look at it. C, A minor. Now when it gets to the E minor, it's just implied that you know the chord. It's implied that you know the B dominant. Being able to hold the note is important for the song Heathens, because that's how, like, the verse, I love one day, da-ba-da-ba-da locked away, blah, 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 blah. Then it starts moving. with all of these, all the songs that I give you, the idea is to have songs to practice, have ways to practice songs using songs. And then you go to all these other channels and you find these songs to work on. Find the easiest version, learn that. And then when you're like, I feel like I'm playing a lot better now, learn the harder version, learn the way that it's supposed to be played and be able to play along with it. That is the goal. You want to be able to get through these songs. We're just using songs to create practices for ourselves so that it's not so boring. Now let's have a look at a couple of techniques that you can add to chords in order to make them more interesting. You can take the same chord progression and I can strum with it. What if I put a different strum to it? I can take that and there are a few things that you can do with chords to just kind of make it sound a little bit different. Arpeggio is a chord. It just means broken chord. So you're not playing them all together, you're breaking it up. Now, this is an easy way. This is just to show you the idea of what you can do with them. This one, you're going to go down 4, and then you're going to go up 4. So when you pick it, down, 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 up, 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 up. I'll show you what that means. From the C to the A minor, we're going to start at the top of that chord, strum it down 4 strings, 1, 2, 3, 4, then go to the bottom and strum it up. Move to the A, minor, up. Now our 6th string chord, E minor, bottom, go up, the B dominant. So all together you would look at that and go. We've gone over how to read a chord chart, how to put all of this stuff together. Now all that's left is learning our 10 open chords. Let's go over these strum patterns first. Practice adding these to these chords. Number 1, just down strums, everything that you've just been doing. A lot of songs have the strum pattern. That's strum pattern number 1. Strum pattern number 2. And strum pattern number 3. Learning your chords in this manner doesn't put them in chord families. This is just giving you all your chords so that way you're able to play any song that you see. If it's got an F sharp, I know where my F sharp is. If it's got a B flat, I don't know that chord yet because it's a harder chord, but I got the basic of it. I can play the power chord of that and get that note, B flat. Not minor or major yet, but we'll get to that. Start off with these chords, find out where your notes are. Your homework is to learn as much as you can. Learn as many songs as you can. Pick one song that you want to learn. Go on YouTube, find it, learn it, pick it apart, and let me know what it is. Don't worry, I wasn't going to leave you hanging and leave it all boring. Like, learn all your 10 chords, just strum them. Here you go. Your 10 chords. 5 different songs for you to practice. The easy way, strum them 4 times, move to the next one, get used to moving them around. When you can move them with 4 strums, move them down to 1 strum, C, A minor, E minor, B. And use that to speed up and get your get your fingers pumping with this. So these are exercises for you based off of songs. If you want to practice all 10 of your chords just the easy way, and I don't want to like, I just want to just get it done, the ones in red, Heathens, Hey Joe, and Save Your Tears. These contain all your chords, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, major and minor, minus the sharps and flats. Just all your 10 open chords. So looking at this sheet, this should give you plenty of exercise. So we went over how to read a chord chart or how to look at tablature. We saw here that we got the top and the bottom. Our open notes are represented by zeros. We have to memorize our open strings, memorize our 6th and our 5th strings so that way we know where our power chords are. We got 2 power chord practices for 2 songs that you're going to learn. We went over holding the chords, getting used to gripping your guitar and making sure you can sustain these notes. And then the last thing that we did was arpeggiation, where you are playing the chords, you're just not strumming the chords. You're just arpeggiating them or playing broken chords. This is just one way to do it. You can mix it up anyway. If you play a finger style, you can. You don't have to just play down 4, up 4. This is just, like I said, a template for you to get started. You can do whatever you want. Whatever you're capable of, should I say. So that's why you want to practice different songs, different rhythms and melodies, and combine everything to get the experience of being able to play whatever you want, whenever you want. This is everything that we worked on today. So take this, print it out, work on it. I also have another sheet that I'm going to show you of some other songs that you can practice. So I'll make all of these available. If you have any questions, let me know. The other videos that are going to come along will kind of help fill in the blanks of, you know, everything that we're talking about. This was just about chords and getting your open chords and what you need. Like I said, this one doesn't put it in chord families. We're not going over how to write songs. This is just a dump of chords so that you have A, B, C, D, E, F, G, major and minor. That way you can play most every song out there. The ones that are more difficult, let me know what they are and I'll help you play through them. I hope this gave you a good understanding on the way I teach lessons. So if you do have any questions, leave some comments for me. All the songs that anything that you find that's helpful, put it in the comments as well so that everybody else can see what's going on, see what you got going on, and maybe learn a new song. So I will see you guys in the next video.